Alex Kirshner, the business end of the season. We're on it, right? We're going to make some money.
We are going to make some money. Tough one last week for me. A rough beat in the Texans Colts game with the Texans fumbling had me at 3-4 instead of the 4-3 that I felt like I rightfully deserve. So at a game under for the week, I am 35-37-1 on the season. That's 2 short of 500 and about 6 short of the profit zone. With time to go, I think we can get there with a very strong last handful of weeks to the season. You had a slightly better week than I did last week, though. Did you not?
Yeah, I go 4-3-1 last week, which, okay, it's okay. It'll get the job done. We need to limp ourselves. I'm just shooting for 50% at this point. I'm 40-45-2 this season. But I will say, this is not a protect your record week for me personally. I'm taking some swings here. So let's see how we pan out at the end of Sunday night, Monday night. Let's get the spread.
Yeah, nothing to do but take some swings. I'm going to take one with a road underdog. The New England Patriots visiting the Los Angeles Rams. Patriots +6 for me, though I had to eat -120 juice to get it. Last 3 weeks, Patriots have really rounded into form. I'm not going to say that they are the Patriots of old because they're not. You would know I was lying to you, and we don't lie to our listeners and our audience members on this show. But they've been an above average defense in the last month or so in a way that they were not early in the season. The Rams are hard to score on, but are also not moving the ball particularly well in their own right. I trust Bill Belichick to outthink Jared Goff. I even trust him to outthink Sean McVay, but particularly Jared Goff. This Patriots team just played in the same stadium against Justin Herbert and held him to one of the worst quarterback games of the season last week. I think they're going to do bad things to Jared Goff. I actually thought about Patriots money line in this instance, but we'll have to live with +6 for New England.
Yeah, I really thought very hard about that game. And to be honest with you, by the time this video comes out, maybe I'll take it. If I do, you'll see it on my Twitter at RJ_rights. We'll see. I thought very strongly about that game as well. I'm taking Falcons against those Chargers that the Patriots dusted last week. Anthony Lynn has taken over the special teams, and that is a reason why I think maybe the Chargers might not get absolutely blown out because obviously you saw how bad they were in that phase of the game on Sunday against the Patriots. I think the Falcons are going to take this, and I think the Falcons are going to win this by more than 2.5 points. I think the Falcons cover here, seriously. I don't know. I think the Chargers are about done. I think they've got a lot of talent on that roster, but I look at maybe they burned bright for a little bit, and it's actually not exactly a complete finished product.
Sure. Understandable. Although the Falcons did not look excellent in their own right last week. I see at least the rationale for that pick. Texans Bears for me. So Deshaun Watson, I don't know if you heard this. This is actually an inside scoop that I think I only have. The Bears passed on Deshaun Watson and they drafted Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah, people don't know this and people don't talk about it very much, but they passed on him. And more importantly, the Texans got him. They are playing at a very high level on offense right now. They have been essentially average on defense for the last 3 games, which if you know anything about where they were at the beginning of the season is a big accomplishment for the Houston Texans. And I don't believe in the Bears at all. They have been shredded by both Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers of late. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is really good. Matt Stafford isn't. Well, guess who is also really good? Deshaun Watson. I think that, anything close to a pick 'em, in some places you've even seen them +1, maybe you've seen them -1 in different spots. That line's kind of been all over the place throughout the week. I just feel good about Deshaun Watson, and I do not feel good about pretty much anything about the Chicago Bears.
All right. Well, I don't know if I feel good about these picks, but again, we're taking swings this week. I don't know why, but we're taking swings. Sure. Washington and San Francisco, Washington +3.5, and Washington and San Francisco under 43. That is a very, very low number. I understand that, but these are 2 offensive football teams that are not very good. I do not think Nick Mullins and George Kittle offer enough to be desired against that Washington front. I think Washington showed a little something against Pittsburgh on Monday night, pulling that one out Monday afternoon, evening. I don't even know.
It was a 5 o'clock game. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think Washington as a dog here. I'm going to take Washington as a dog. Dogs are just performing really well against the spread this season. So I think this is a spot where Washington, I don't know, looks kind of soft. I'm going to take Washington.
Sure. Fair enough. Vikings Bucks for me. I think we both have a play on this game. I'm taking the under at 51.5 points. I can't quite make heads or tails of why this game has a total in the 50s because these offenses have both played poorly. The Vikings have Dalvin Cook. That's a great running back, but the team running game is not strong at the moment. It actually cost them points by expected points added per play, which is a stat that we both like. Last week, they almost lost to the Jaguars, and that was primarily the fault, I think, of an offense that just did not move the ball away it was supposed to. Kirk Cousins is not
Also,
playing well.
there were some fluky
Yeah,
touchdowns by the Jaguars. I can tell you that.
and fluky touchdowns do not hurt when you are looking at an under the next week. Maybe we get an overvalued, kind of an inflated total in that game. I think to get a lot of points here, we're relying on Captain Kirk really tearing up Tampa's secondary in a way that has not happened if the quarterback is not Patrick Mahomes. And Kirk Cousins, you are no Patrick Mahomes. So under 51.5 for me in that game.
I think the Bucks come out from the bye week and look actually like they've done something over the bye week. I think they really get after the Vikings in the first half. That's why I'm taking the Bucks -3.5 in the first half, just the first half line there, -115, excuse me, on the juice. The Vikings did not start very fast on Sunday against the Jaguars, so I think I like the Bucks to start really strong in the first 2 quarters of the game.
Sure, much respect. You and I are both riding my hometown Pittsburgh Steelers, though in different ways on Sunday Night Football against the Bills.
Yeah, you're taking the 2.5 points. I'm taking them on the money line, baby. I think the value there at +130 for me in a game that I think the Steelers will win outright. I'm taking the Steelers here. That defense, I do not think Josh Allen will be able to move right with impunity. I think the Steelers will have a pretty good plan for that, and I think the Steelers will need to bounce back. Mike Tomlin has to really look that team in the face and say, what are we going to be coming down the stretch? And I think for the Steelers to continue to hit their stride, or I guess get their mojo back a little bit after some clunky weeks that finally ended up in a loss to Washington Monday evening, I think the Steelers get it done here against the Bills. Primetime Bills, don't know if I believe in too strongly.
Yeah, I just felt like the last 2 games of the Steelers where they've looked pretty bad, and they finally did lose one to Washington, but they also looked pretty bad against Baltimore the week before, have sort of been attributable to weird circumstances. The Ravens COVID outbreak meant a couple of reschedules. They've been playing games at bizarre times on Monday and Wednesday afternoons. I think that on a somewhat regular week of rest here, though, of course, they did play on Monday, but at least it was a little earlier on Monday. I think they get back into routine. I think their true talent shows, and I wanted the points because I think Josh Allen's playing well, and the Steelers have some injuries on defense. But I think that we are philosophically aligned that, we'll see how ready for primetime the Buffalo Bills are on Sunday night, and I don't know the answer.
I'm popping Chiefs and Dolphins over 49.5. So the total on the Chiefs games have been falling every week, and I think that they're not ready. I think the books are sort of trying to peg this team and not ready for it. I think because of the way the Dolphins play man coverage, Tyreek Hill is going to have a lot of joy. I think there'd be a lot of points here. And I do think the Dolphins at some point in time will have to play outside of themselves and potentially try to keep up against a not so great defense. So I'm taking the over here, over 49.5 at -115.
Sure thing. Packers and Lions, 2 plays for me in Detroit this week. So I'm taking Packers -7.5, and I'm taking the under in this game. Obviously, taking the big number favorite and the under is, somewhat of a risky package, or you can call it a hedge. No matter how you look at it. Aaron Rodgers and friends are playing at a very high level. A handful of teams have been really brilliant in the past game lately, kind of in a league of their own. And the Packers are right up there with the Chiefs, Titans, Texans, Browns, even Josh Allen, who we just mentioned. The Eagles' pass defense is not terrible, and Rodgers and Devontae Adams and even Alan Lazard really, really kind of tore them up last week. This Lions secondary has a lot of problems, and I just think that Green Bay can go ahead and win this game by solidly more than a touchdown. On the other hand, I do not believe at all in the Lions offense. The Bears suck, and yes, the Lions beat up on them, but I do not want to be overly bullish on the Bears. On the Lions based on what they did against Chicago last week. We know that with DeAndre Swift not healthy, this is not a particularly potent run game. Quarterback play is sort of definitionally average as long as Matt Stafford is your guy. And Green Bay plays the pass pretty well. So I think Green Bay scores most of the points here, and I do not think that there's enough to get us to a total in the mid-50s.
Speaking of a team scoring most of the points, Jets and Seahawks, I'm taking that over 40, over 46 and a half.
Speaking of a team scoring most of the points. Yeah.
So I do need the Seahawks to keep their foot on the gas, which means I do need the Jets to sort of push here a little bit. I don't know what the Jets defense is going to be like with the new defensive coordinator this week. That isn't going to leave them hopelessly out to dry on fourth down situations when the game is on the line, running cover zero blitzes. But be that as it may, the Jets suck. The Jets offense actually played a little bit better against the Raiders than I expected. Obviously kept them in the game until the defense screwed it up. So going to need some help here, I think, from the Jets, but over 46 and a half. That's the last play I have this week.
Some people would say that you should not bet the over right after they fire Greg Williams because now they're going to have better management of their defensive coordinator job. I would just say whoever's their defensive coordinator now, Greg Williams was his boss.
Right.
That's someone who was deemed not as good as Greg Williams, and that's why he was below him on the totem pole. I'm just saying, I'm not expecting the Jets to get it together anytime soon. I'm spiritually with you on that pick. I think it's going to hit. Richard, get the spread this week. Let's eat.
Absolutely. See you next week, Alex.
See you next week.